I'm Caleb, and this is 'Cause It's News. Welcome back to 'Cause It's News, the show where we cover all the news from the previous week. Today, I have a new guest. Courtney is busy with some stuff, so I have brought along my brother, Jacob. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
So, we actually recorded our regular episode yesterday, so Jacob will also be on the regular show this Friday for Mission Impossible Fallout, so be sure to come along and check that out. So jumping right in, we got a lot of news this week. First up, Rob Williams was hired about a year ago to work on the live-action series Judge Dredd Mega City 1, and he has finished the pilot script for it.
This is exciting, Caleb. I love the Judge Dredd movies, and it'll be really interesting to see what they do in this adaptation.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've ever seen a Judge Dredd movie, so I don't really have any expectations for this, but I'm sure a lot of you people out there do. Another movie that's getting an adaptation is Alita Battle Angel, which actually received a new trailer this week.
Caleb, I have no idea what this is, but looking at the trailer, I'm very interested to see how it turns out.
I don't know a lot about it. It's based on an anime, I think, or a manga, one of the two, which is one of the reasons why the main character has these freakishly large eyes.
They look fantastic, and not alone are her eyes big, but then there are several other characters that are half bionicle.
I think they're robots with, like, skin over their face to make them look human.
So you can definitely tell this is a Japanese-based story, but it looks very interesting.
Yeah, I think the new trailer looks good. I don't know if the general audience is going to go for this, but I think that the way she looks is a little off-putting. I think they went too far with those big eyes. They didn't need to, so we'll see. Next up, the Detective Pikachu live-action movie has switched hands. It was going to be distributed by Universal. It is now going to be distributed by Warner Brothers, which means that this movie might have its release date changed. It was originally going to be released May 10th of next year, and now who knows? Now, how do you feel about this movie, Jacob?
I cannot get behind this movie, Caleb. I used to be a fan of Pokemon.
Wait, used to?
Yes, I used to watch the shows, and I was very fond of them, and I played Pokemon Go when it first came out, but I have never played any of the Game Boy games.
Oh, Jacob.
I know you're very fond of them, and you love it, and you're probably excited for this movie, but it seems so weird to do a live action of it.
Yeah, it's odd that this is the first live action movie they're doing. I think it would have been better to do a regular Pokemon movie and spin this out if that's successful.
I think I could get more behind it if it was just a regular Pokemon movie and not Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, well, it's based on a video game, so that's why that is specifically what they're doing. We also have Frances Conroy, who is from American Horror Story, was cast as the mother of the Joker in that Joaquin Phoenix Joker origin movie that they're doing, alongside, potentially, Robert De Niro.
This is exciting news. I love Robert De Niro, and I have seen Frances Conroy in American Horror Story before. I don't watch it on a regular basis, but from what I've seen, she does a fantastic job.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her, but I am looking forward to the Joker origin movie, so we'll see how that goes. Deathstroke was teased at the end of... Oh goodness, what movie was that? Justice League?
It was Batman vs. Superman,
Batman vs. Superman.
Yes.
Are you sure it wasn't Justice League?
Yep, because it was on the boat, and it was Lex Luthor from the end of Batman vs. Justice League. Wow. Batman vs. Superman. What a movie. Batman vs. Superman, and it had him on the boat, and Deathstroke rode up. It was definitely not at the end of Justice League.
Okay. Well, whatever movie it was at the end of. Deathstroke has been kind of in and out of the DCEU, depending on who you ask. He was supposed to be the villain in the Batman movie, which is or isn't happening, again, depending on who you ask. But the actor who's portraying him, Joe Manganiello, came out and basically said he's still going to be in a movie. It's in the works, but I can't say anything more than that.
But it's the DCEU parentheses around that, so you don't really know if it's actually in the works.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell with them. But a Batman project that is in the works is Batman, the animated series, which is coming to Blu-ray. This has been released on DVD previously, the entire series, because I own it. I bought it several years ago. Fantastic series from the 90s, but it is getting the Blu-ray release, which will be October 16th, with tons and tons and tons of bonus features.
I would be getting this, Caleb, but I actually plan to get the DC streaming platform, which is supposed to have all of these on it.
It is, so it's odd that they've decided to release this. I get it for hardcore collectors, but for the price of the DC Universe month to month, it almost seems like you wouldn't release a physical copy to push that a little bit more.
The only thing you're gaining by this physical copy is the physicality of it, and also the bonus features that it comes with.
I guess that's true.
I know that it comes with 3 pop figures, which you know I'm a big fan of, but I would not buy this just for those.
We also got a sneak peek at the new Reign of the Superman trailer. Now, I didn't catch this, you did. Is this a sequel to one that they've already done?
This is a sequel to Death of Superman.
Okay, so the new movie that they're doing, that is the same movie as Superman Doomsday that they did like 10 years ago.
Yes, so this story picks up after Superman is dead, and the people, Lois Lane and everybody that he knows is trying to get over it whenever something happens and all these different Supermans start to appear. So people can't tell if this is a reincarnation of the original Superman or if these are alternate Supermans. And so the story goes through them trying to figure out who these Supermen are, and they definitely do not act like the original Superman.
Okay, so that's a storyline straight from the comics that happened directly after the Death of Superman story. So it sounds like they're adapting that pretty much the same. There's 4 Supermen in the comic that show up. One is like a mechanical dude.
Cyborg Superman.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I don't know all the details, but that's an interesting story. I've always found the idea of that cool, so hopefully that'll be really good as well.
This would make more sense why they're pushing out that Death of Superman movie. Before, I was not sure why they were redoing it. It's basically the same exact thing that came out several years ago, but if they were doing this, it would make sense to push out a little bit different story right beforehand to catch up audiences back to it.
I guess so, but I also think that you could do the Death of Superman in the first 5-10 minutes and still get that out of the way to do the Reign of Superman.
That's true.
Storyline.
It would save them a lot of money too.
Yeah, so I don't know. Jumping on over to the Marvel side of the house, of course, we talked about last week how James Gunn was fired from Disney. There have been a lot of people come out since then in support of him, including Dave Bautista, which we talked about, but also the Thanos co-creator Jim Starlin, obviously his brother Sean Gunn, Chris Pratt, Peyton Reed. A lot of different people have come out in support of him. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any ground on this, good or bad, so we don't really know if there's any talks behind the scenes.
But it's definitely letting Disney know that people are standing behind him. The petition alone has 330,000 signatures. And that's, if you just think about that, that's only the people getting on to sign that.
Right.
There are much more standing behind him. These actors that are getting off Twitter, Instagram in support of him. People have spoken out against Disney. It'll be interesting to see if Disney comes out with a release or something on this, just to let fans know maybe why more they did it, or expand on fans, or issue an apology. It'll just be interesting to see how they handle this.
Yeah, and it's already gotten some fallout because director Rian Johnson, who did The Last Jedi and is doing another trilogy for Star Wars, went on his Twitter and deleted 20,000 tweets that he had previously. He said he doesn't think that he's actually said anything bad or offensive in those, but when you have someone like James Gunn being fired for stuff he said years ago, why risk it,
Oh yeah, definitely after that, I would be hesitant to post anything. Even if you know it's not gonna hurt anything or anybody, it would be hard to post stuff after this.
Yeah, I mean, you can twist anything.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting that you said that because we don't have it in our notes, but I saw something that said the guy that started the remarks to get James Gunn fired, people have started going back and looking on his Twitter, and he has almost the same exact post that James Gunn had posted.
Yeah, I've heard stuff like that before. I haven't done any research into it myself, but it's just not a good situation. Clearly, it's going to have lasting ramifications across a bunch of different people. Now, we are going to talk about something real quick that has spoilers for the end of Avengers Infinity War. I'm pretty sure everybody has seen this at this point. I'm not sure if we need to say this as spoilers, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. So skip ahead if you don't want to hear this. Of course, at the end of Infinity War, Thanos gets the gauntlet and does the snap, and half of the universe disappear. Now, there's a couple people there's a lot of people we see disappear, but there's some people we don't see disappear, and we weren't sure if they were around. But Angela Bassett, the woman who plays Black Panther's mother in that movie, has confirmed that both her character, Ramonda, and Shuri did survive the snap, which is good.
This would make sense, Caleb. They're going to have some characters before they bring back supposedly the rest. If they do in the next movie, they need to have some characters to fill in that void.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's probably a good call. And then this is also a spoiler, the comic book this time, for the Infinity Wars Prime series that just launched. This is for the first issue, so if you haven't got a chance to read that, please skip ahead. There's a pretty big death in this issue, and that, of course, was Thanos, who was killed by, I believe, the new mysterious figure, Requiem.
Not only killed, but beheaded, Caleb.
Yeah, pretty intense. Beheaded, head falls off, and Thanos is, thinking to himself, this is a fitting end.
It's very interesting that they decide to kill him off in this, although it is a comic book, as we have discussed before. He's probably going to come right back.
Yeah, I think they'll leave him dead for a little while. He's been dead in the past. He was actually dead right before the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. That's kind of what led to that storyline, so this isn't anything new for him. But jumping on over to TV, The Runaways was a series from Marvel that launched on Hulu streaming platform. It's really great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Have you seen it?
Yes, I actually love this show, and I binged the show 3 days, I believe. It was 3 days, and I'm excited for season 2.
Yeah, so the thing about this is that it is getting a one-time airing on a public non-streaming platform television channel, which is Freeform. It's going to be, they're going to show the first episode right after the season finale of Cloak and Dagger, which I get why they're doing that, because they kind of have a similar feel.
I think this is weird, Caleb. The Runaways I could not get behind after one episode. So I think just showing one episode is not going to get the views up for people watching this. I think you would have to at least do 2.
I disagree. I think that there's a lot there that people like in The Runaways. I get that the story doesn't get really rolling, but there's enough to hook people. And by showing the first episode after Cloak and Dagger, which they have the same demographic of people that would be interested in them, that's going to say, oh, hey, maybe we need to get Hulu to get this show so we can watch the rest of it.
That's true. Maybe if it doesn't even hook them, maybe the curiosity will get a hold of them, and that at least will make them want to go check it out.
Men in Black is getting a new movie, Men in Black 4, which is going to see the return of Emma Thompson playing the role of Agent O, which she played in at least the first movie, right?
Oh, I know she's been in at least 2 of them. I can't remember which ones they are, but this is interesting because they've already confirmed this, but this reconfirms that this is not a reboot of the original franchise. This is a continuation.
Right, which I think is a good call. I would rather it be a continuation / sidestep rather than a full-on reboot. Now, Game of Thrones is an amazing show. Do you watch it, Jacob?
I do not. I want to get into it, but it's so far ahead, I'm having an issue starting because I know so many things that happen already because you cannot get on social media without being spoiled, especially when you start in 8 seasons late.
Right. So season 8 is going to be the final season, which they have been working on for the past year or so. It has now been announced that it will definitely air during the first half of next year. And that kind of reboot, well, it's not really a reboot. The sequel series, the prequel series, whatever they decide to do with that, will not air until 2019 at the very earliest. Which actually I don't think that's true. I think it's 2020, because 2019 is next year. They're not airing in the same year.
Oh, the thing that I had saw said 2019, but that could have been a typo.
Yeah, I think that's a typo. I don't think that's supposed to appear until 2020. Locke Key is, I believe, a comic book series. I have not read it personally, but that show was picked up by Netflix. It is going to be a live action show. This was originally pitched to Hulu. They passed on it, and I guess they came along to Netflix, and Netflix was like, yeah, we'll take this. We take anything.
Yes, Netflix has picked this up for 10 episodes, which is a great thing because the pitch for this movie or series was a great idea. I saw a video on the pitch before, actually, and it's interesting that Hulu passed this up. It seems like something they would do, but luckily for them, Netflix ended up swooping in and catching it.
All right, now, Jacob, we recorded the regular episode yesterday, like I mentioned, and we did talk about this piece of news, so you will hear this again on Friday, but I find this really great, and that's that Chris Hardwick is returning to AMC for all of his talking shows. Previously, he was accused of abuse by his ex-girlfriend, and of course, put on suspension, like so many people in Hollywood have these days. But he is coming back. They've completed their investigation and found that he has done nothing wrong. And I'm really happy personally to see someone that's been accused of something come back, because no one else that's happened to yet.
It's nice to get some good news out of Hollywood. Most of the time you see these accusations followed up with filings, fallouts of jobs, all these different things. And it's just nice to see something not necessarily good come out of it, but not the worst potential possibility come out.
Yeah, I think that this whole trend of exposing people, it's going to come to an end at some point, because there's going to be too many people that are accused of things that didn't do anything. I don't know how long that's going to take. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's just got to. And seeing this, like you said, is really, really uplifting. Now, another thing that I found really touching is there is a trailer that came out for a Paul Walker documentary. Obviously, Paul Walker was the star of the Fast and the Furious movies until he tragically passed away in a car accident. This movie is called I Am Paul Walker. It has interviews with the cast members. It's got interviews with his family. It looks very thorough. It looks really, really good. Did you catch this trailer?
I did not catch this trailer, but after hearing you talk about it, this is awesome, because after he passed away in the car wreck, they had to do something with the movies, so they ended up using his brother, and recreating Paul Walker's face on his brother's face. So fans have seen him since his death, and I think this is nice to kind of add a tribute to him. I know they had a song in one of the Fast and Furious movies, I'll See You Again, which was a tribute to him, but it's nice to actually see a movie that's going to come out as a tribute.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be released on August 11th on Paramount Network, which I'd never heard of. And after looking into it more, I discovered that this is actually the Spike channel, which has been rebranded as of January of this year into the Paramount Network. So there's a little bit of fact for you. And then, Jacob, the big news of the week.
Fantastic news.
No pun intended.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Is that the shareholders of both Fox and Disney met and approved the merger.
This is super, super exciting, Caleb. We've already talked about this in our other recording, so you guys will hear this again. But this is such big news, I don't even care if we talked about it 4 or 5 times. This is ginormous. Nobody would have seen this a couple years ago, and now that this is finally happening, there are so many possibilities. Like Caleb said, there's still a little bit to go. They still have to sign papers.
There's still some other regulatory bodies they have to go through.
But the big one was the United States.
Right.
And they have passed that now, which basically means there's no roadblocks that can be foreseen in the future.
Yeah, from all accounts, it's pretty much a done deal at this point. It's just, the official paperwork, dotting the I's, crossing the T's type things that has to be going through. So I'm very excited about that. That, of course, means that the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are coming back to Marvel, although we probably won't see them for several years.
Yeah, it'll be very earliest 2020, I think, that you see these characters actually casted. Before then, I can maybe see a tease of these characters, but nobody's going to be casted at least until 2020 at the earliest.
All right, we did get some Star Wars Episode 9 casting news, which did confirm that Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher are returning. Now, Mark Hamill, I'm not surprised at all. All my friends were upset that has it been long enough?
Yeah.
We don't need a spoiler
If you haven't seen this movie at this point, you're not a fan, so this wouldn't bother you.
Okay. Yeah, so all my friends were upset that they killed Luke Skywalker in the last movie, and they were like,
what? They killed him?
No! And I was like, dude, stop worrying. They're clearly going to bring him back in the next one as a Force Ghost or something, and they didn't believe me. Of course, he is coming back. Now, the surprising one is Carrie Fisher. Of course, she died after she finished filming her scenes for Episode 8, and we weren't really sure what they were going to do with 9.
They announced that they are going to actually use some unused footage from The Force Awakens. So what Caleb and I were thinking is they are probably going to make a scene around that unused footage, and I can't see them not killing her off now. If they're using this unused footage, and then they said that they wouldn't recreate her using CGI and stuff, I don't know how they can move on past this movie using her. So it'd be very interesting to see what she does. Along with those two characters coming back is Billy D. Williams as Lando again.
Yes, which we did talk about previously.
Yes.
And of course, Anthony Daniels is returning as C-3PO as well. Now, I kind of think that they're not going to kill the Carrie Fisher character, Princess Leia, because they have to work around that old footage. So I think that she might just go off into the sunset at some point.
Interesting.
And we never see her again.
Interesting. So don't kill her off, but don't use her anymore.
Right.
That would be an interesting move on their part.
That way she can still live on in the books and the comics and things. But,
oh, yeah, because are the movies canon in the books and stuff now? Or no?
Well, the movies have always been canon.
But I'm sorry. Do the books and the movies relate to each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I don't read the books, so I wasn't sure. I thought they were their own separate entity.
No, they've always been connected. When Disney bought Lucasfilm, they basically wiped out all of that stuff. But anything they published from that point forward was the new canon.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Makes sense.
Other Star Wars news, we are getting a new Star Wars TV show called Resistance. Now, obviously, from that name, that's similar to Star Wars Rebels. Only instead of having the Rebels, we now have the Resistance in the new era of Star Wars. We got the first synopsis for the pilot episode, which is going to see a new character spying on the First Order before they really knew anything about that organization.
So, is this live action or animated?
This is animated. This is going to take the place of Rebels, basically.
Okay. Alright, because I'm not caught up on Rebels. I figured it was going to end relatively soon. It would be nice to see, don't get me wrong, I love animated. It'd be really nice to see a live action Star Wars TV show.
Well, you know they are doing one.
Really?
On the Disney streaming service. They announced it.
I didn't know that. What is it on?
John Favreau is involved.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks. That was my initial reaction. I am so excited.
So now I can label this, first reaction.
Exactly.
This Star Wars Resistance show is getting a 22-episode season, and it is going to see the return of Poe Dameron, who will be reprised by Oscar Isaacs, as well as Captain Phasma, who will be voiced by Gwendolyn Christie, just as she is in live action. Now, Jacob, are you a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Caleb, who isn't a fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Several people.
Well, those people are lame. Just kidding.
They're getting a new TV show called Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which I will say the animation looks great. I'm not too wild on the direction or the character designs. But that season 1 debuts on September 17th. But before that's even debuted, they have already ordered a season 2.
That's interesting, Caleb. Most of the time, as many people know, you have the 4th season, however it goes, you order the 2nd season, so it's very interesting to see the 2nd season already ordered.
Yeah, and that's going to be 26 episodes, so I guess that they liked what they saw. Andy Serkis is making a new Jungle Book movie, which you might have seen, called Mowgli.
Caleb, I'm super excited to see this after what was the other movie? Was it
Jungle Book?
Jungle Book? That's
Jungle
what
Book?
I figured. Those animals looked amazing in that movie. They looked stupendous. I'm excited to see this new one.
So this Mowgli movie, it's nothing new, but the thing about it that has changed is that instead of going to theaters like it was previously, it is now going to Netflix, because Warner Brothers has sold the distribution rights to Netflix, which is kind of an odd move, seeing as it was supposed to be released this October, and now will instead be released next year in 2019. However, it is still going to get some kind of limited release in theaters because Andy Serkis has been working on a 3D version of it. So you can't just toss that.
That would be awful, Caleb. Imagine the money that would be wasted, and imagine the people's hype. If I was a big fan of this, I would be very frustrated if I knew there was a 3D being worked on and then they just scrapped it.
Yeah, I mean, I would be frustrated if I were Andy Serkis, because this is like his first big single project that he's doing, and it's being moved to Netflix, but nothing you can do about that. X-Men Dark Phoenix is a movie that might or might not be happening.
Yeah, Caleb, this piece of information is weird to me. with the Fox and Disney merger happening, but not being official yet, it's interesting to think if Fox was going to go forward with their movies, which apparently from this news, they are.
Well, they've already shot this movie. It would be very strange for them not to release it, although that was a rumor that came out, is that it was going to be scrapped, as well as the New Mutants, which both of those movies were pushed back to next year already. But according to this report/rumor, Dark Phoenix is going into reshoots next month. Now, I've seen conflicting reports saying that those reshoots are required based on contractual obligations, regardless of if they release a movie. I've also seen things saying, why would they do reshoots for a movie they're not going to release? I'm not a lawyer. I don't work in Hollywood. I can't speak to that. But I think it would be dumb for them not to release it at all.
Oh yeah, the money wasted, like we've gone over before, would be insane. And just as fans, it's nice to see, even if this movie is not going to be your favorite, it's nice to see a different direction with this character.
Yeah.
Because we saw her in the other X-Men movies, and she was played by someone completely different, and this one she's played by a younger actress. It's going to be very interesting to see their take on her.
Yeah, I don't have high hopes. I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, it's Fox, so what can you do?
Exactly. We also did get a couple of new trailers. First up is Castlevania Season 2, which is a Netflix show. I haven't seen Season 1, but you have, right?
Season 1 is amazing. Now, I must tell you, it is very not safe for work. So do not watch this with kids around. Do not watch this at work, obviously. But Season 2, the trailer looked amazing. It reminded me exactly of the fourth season, and it's very bloody. That's all I will say about it.
This is going to be released October 26th. It is going to be double the length of the first season, which means it will get 8 episodes as opposed to 4. We also got a new trailer, well, the first trailer, really, except for a small teaser, for Iron Fist. What
a movie that would be.
It's a suspense movie. You don't know what it's going to do. Iron Fist Season 2. Now, you thought this looked better than the first season.
Yes, you told me that there was not much to go off of, which is true, but seeing the way that he acted in these few seconds in these trailers, I think it looked better. And you see glimpses of fight scenes, they already look better to me. There's not much to go off of, but what there is to go off of, I think it looks better.
See, I disagree. I think that he acts completely the same, and the fight scenes, there's not enough to know, because every single thing that they show is a single shot of him doing one action.
That's true. That's true. See, I don't know what I'm talking about, everybody, so this is why I'm not a host of a podcast.
Well, I mean, the show is very divisive, so I think we'll just have to wait until it comes out to get any sense. I mean, obviously shows can redeem themselves.
Which they did get a new action coordinator, stunt coordinator. Choreographer, that's the one.
And showrunner.
Yeah. So this is definitely going to be different than season 1, but nobody knows if it'll be for the better or worse.
Right. And that is going to be released on September 7th. And to round us out for this week, Amazon has hired writers for that Lord of the Rings TV series that they have been developing for the past couple of years now. And those people are the writing duo J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, who are sort of new up-and-coming people in Hollywood, because the only things that they have credited to their name are Star Trek Beyond, which is a new TV show, Star Trek 4, which isn't out yet, and Godzilla vs. Kong, which is also not out yet.
Caleb, this is very interesting. I have always thought that Lord of the Rings could be a big money grab with the games that they have come out with, which I've loved just about all of them, to the movies, to the much-needed TV show. So this is going to be very interesting to see what characters they use, if they bring in any major characters, what storyline they go with.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what they do with it. I know they're putting a lot of thought into it. They're looking at every possible direction, which is good. I think you have to do that if you have a series like that. So I will definitely at least look at it once it comes out. And Jacob, that rounds us out for this week. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me on, Caleb.
It's okay. I mean, Courtney was busy. I had to find someone.
Well, you know, I'm second choice, but that's first choice in my book.
And your book is wrong.
Alrighty.
Well, we do want to say thank you to Taylor Poole for our wonderful opening. Please check him out at taylorpoolmusic.com. And also check out our episode coming out this Friday, which covers Mission Impossible Fallout, in which Jacob was also the guest host.
You need to check it out. It was fantastic.
He's not biased at all.
Just kidding. No, it's really good though. You should go see it.
Yeah, so thanks for checking us out, and please join us Friday and next Monday for all the latest news. And as always,
stay naughty. So, I said something wrong during this video.
This isn't a video, Jacob. I mean, unless you're watching on
YouTube.
But it's still not really a video.
You're not wrong. So, I'm gonna go in and fix that for you guys. Deathstroke was definitely at the end of Justice League and not Batman vs. Superman. Yes.
10 points.
There was a false time for everything.
50 points.
I apologize.
All the points.
For me.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.